Hello, my friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today's card is this one. I'm loving this card. I love tulips. They are my favorite flower. This card totally reminds me of spring. We're going to be using the Flowering Tulips stamp set and the Tulip Dies to create this card, along with the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper. So if you want to see how to make this card, please keep watching. So our card's sitting over here. The first thing I want to do is talk about the stamp set and these dies. So the Flowering Tulip stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set with 18 two-step stamps. So what two-step stamping is using two stamps to create one image. So these layer, these. We're not going to be using these stamps today, though. We're really going to be focusing on the Tulip Dies. Now, if you're a beginner, these dies can be incredibly overwhelming. So I would say this card is more for the casual to avid crafter. But if you are trying to get into die cutting, these dies might be for you. It's a builder set. So you have different dies here that build these flowers. And I've made a little chart, I guess, here of what each die cuts out. So you have these ones here that cut out the stamped images. There's also this pretty border. That's not the whole thing. I couldn't fit it on there. And then there's these tulip builders. There's also this one that cuts out this little waffle pattern, but we're going to be mainly using these dies today to make our flowers. So it's a really fun set. So the first thing we're going to do is die cut. So I'll show you which dies I've used. I've used this one here. Let's move this out of the way. I've used this one here, one of these, and this goes in the little one. And here is the little one. So those two go together, and then this one. So we're only using 4 of the dies. So I've used this one twice. Those are there, these two twice, and then this one just one time. Now, I did get a little bit of glue on my sample there. That's okay. We're going to be using the liquid glue. I have already die cut my pieces so that you can see them. So that is one of those. That is one of those. I've done this one in Pale Papaya and this one in Mango Melody, and I did 2 of those. I can pick them up. So 2 of those and then 1 of these. Again, Pale Papaya and then Mango Melody. So those are already die cut. I'm going to put my dies away so I don't lose them. And then I'm going to show you the neat little trick I did to get the tulips like that. Now, I went on Pinterest and I found several different ideas, and I kind of thrown all the things I found on Pinterest together in one card. So what I'm going to use is I have these sponge daubers. These come in a pack of 5. Now, I don't have one for every color, but I do have one for every color family. So like blues, greens, this one's my green one. I have an orange one, and we're only going to be using 2 ink colors. I have Mango Melody and Garden Green, and we're going to kind of set those aside because I don't want to get those. We're going to start with Mango Melody. I have my orange sponge dauber. I'm going to flip open our ink. And I'm just going to dab it a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is, and this one actually goes this way. I kind of messed it up and did it at the top. It goes this way. So the points, I don't know if you can see the like embossing detail on there. The points go down. That's how it, when you fold it up, how it is supposed to go, I guess. I'm going to ink up my sponge dauber. I'm just going to rub a little bit on my grid paper. And then I'm just going to kind of sponge daub the bottom part, and I want that really to be mango-y, and then we're just going to kind of go up a little, and that's it. And that's how you get that cool color variation. So I'm going to do the same thing for these 2 pieces. Just start kind of deep at the bottom and then just work your way up a little bit. You're not going all the way to the top because we don't want this whole thing to be mango. And then I think I'm just going to use what's on my sponge dauber. Go back in if I have to, but that actually looks pretty good. Let's go up a little over on that side. And then we're going to do the same thing with our stems. So I didn't show you the stems, but there are 2 stems in the die set. There's like a long one a long skinny one, and so I have 2 of those, and then a shorter chunkier one, and I have 1 of those, and then there's 2 leaves, and I have 1 of each of those. So we're just going to close up our Mango Melody for now and grab Garden Green, and this is Pear Pizzazz. Old Olive is what's in the paper. If you'd like to use Old Olive, feel free. I went with Pear Pizzazz just because I wanted that Garden Green to kind of really show up. So I'm doing the same thing, just dipping my dauber in the Garden Green, starting on my grid paper, and just kind of going up the stems. Now the skinny ones are a little bit harder because they're so thin. I'm just kind of going over them. And with the skinny ones, you can kind of skip spots. You don't want to go over the whole thing because you'll turn the whole thing Garden Green. I'm just kind of going over it a little bit. And then the leaves, I'm just kind of going on one side and just giving it a little bit of shading. And it really doesn't matter which side you choose. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of color there. So that's it for that. We can put the Garden Green away and the sponge daubers. And now we can build our tulips. I'm going to set these aside for just a second. And I have my liquid glue. Now I am a mess with liquid glue. Like I said, I got some on the card there. If you're messy like me, glue dots might work better for you. I'm still going to show with the liquid glue, and I'm going to try to not be messy. So we'll start with our little tulip piece first. There's a little score mark on it. I'm just going to fold that in because that goes in, and that goes like that. So what I'm going to do is just take my liquid glue, flip my inside Mango Melody piece over, and I'm just going to try to squeeze a little bit because I don't want it squirting out of the top or anything like that. I'm going to stick that in there, and then what I'm going to do is just take a little bit and fold the flower closed and just hold it for just a second because it's liquid glue, so it takes just a second, and that one is done. And see, I could have moved it down a little bit. I didn't. So just play with it. Liquid glue I like though because it gives you a second. You don't have to, like with seal, it sticks pretty much immediately and you're never getting it off. So if you mess up with the liquid glue, you kind of have a second to play with it a little bit. Like, see, I can move that still before it's completely stuck down. We're going to go like that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just on that big petal there. And we're going to fold that over. There's our next flower, and then our last one. And I did put glue on both sides on this one, but you can see when you don't put it on this little piece, it kind of sticks out and makes it more 3D. So that's why I did it that way. Just stick that down, then a little bit of glue on that big petal. I did a lot better with the liquid glue this time, not nearly as messy. So now we can take our basic white piece and stick our flowers down. I have already embossed this with the Cane Weave 3D embossing folder. So this only fits in the standard Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I've already run it through. And then we're just gonna, before I put my flower on, I do wanna stick my layers down. So I have a piece of Old Olive here that is cut at 5 by 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. Don't worry about the measurements. They are all on my blog post. If you click the link in the description of this video, it'll take you right to that blog post. I'm just going to use the liquid glue because it's out. Normally I don't use liquid glue. I like my seal, but we'll use the liquid glue because I'm holding it. And I'm just going to stick that piece of the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper on there. Now the other side, I don't know if you saw it before I flipped it over, was also Mango Melody. You could use that side as well. I thought that, I debated what side to use. But I did like the daisies, the flowers. I know it's tulips, but it's daisies. Now this piece is just as long, so it's 5 1/4 inches as our basic white. So I'm trying to line this up pretty perfectly before I press it down. And that looks good to me. Now we can build our flower. So I did put the stems down first. So I have 2 of these skinny stems. And this is where you kind of want to be careful with this liquid glue. So I'm barely squeezing, and when I get a little bubble like that, I just kind of drag it down because I don't want glue everywhere. And in my opinion, it really doesn't matter what end is up. You can do however you want to do it because you're hiding pretty much both ends. You'll only see those little ends poking out. So to me, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to put down the other little skinny one. And it's very light with the glue. I'm going to make it kind of go the opposite way. And then the bigger, chunkier one. I don't know, I thought these have already bloomed. That one's getting ready to bloom, so it would be shorter. But you can put it together however you want. And now we can stick down our tulips. I'm going to flip these over. We're going to use dimensionals, just one on each one, just so they pop up a little bit. And I just kind of fit them over that stem. And if it comes off of this layer a little bit, that's okay. You just want to make sure it's not coming way off of that layer and hanging over the edge of your card. And then we're going to do a little bit more stamping because I have die cut a Stylish Shape from the Stylish Shapes dies. I've used the 3rd smallest circle, whoops, to die cut that. I love these dies. These are a staple in my craft room. I use them a lot, like a lot. And we're also going to be stamping a little bit on the inside of our card. I'm going to put my liquid glue away before I get it all over. So I'm only using 2 stamps from the Flowering Tulips. We're going to be using Just Thinking of You today. And then these little X's, I don't know. I liked those for the inside of the card, so I already have those on blocks. And we're just going to go ahead and stamp in Mango Melody. So let's do the inside of our card first. I have those little X's. I'm just going to do one in this corner and one up in that corner. And then our sentiment, I'm just thinking of you today. I'm going to put right in the center of that circle. Now you can stamp this first and then die cut it if you're worried about getting it centered. That's what I actually did for our sample card. But that turned out just fine. So now we can put everything together. I have our Mango Melody card base. I'm just going to take my bone folder and burnish that edge. Now I am going to grab my seal. Make sure there's lots of adhesive on there. I'm just going to center that right on that card base. We can put our inside in, and then I will show you how I layered the sentiment with the leaves. Our inside in. And now I put the sentiment down first so that I could tuck the leaves around it. I only used 1 dimensional there. We're going to put this right in the center of those stems. And then I'm just going to grab my mini dimensionals. If you don't have these, you could always cut down your large dimensionals or use the outer edge of the dimensionals for a little one. I'm just going to use 2 of those. And like I said, with the leaves, I don't think it really matters. It's all about aesthetics and how you want it to look. I think I want mine to go this way. I'm going to pop that out there. And I just lost the other leaf. Where did it go? I had it. Is it stuck to me? It stuck to me. It was stuck to my sleeve. So I need another dimensional because the backing came off of that and has part of my sweater on it. Do that. Always something. And I think I like it just like that. And we're not done yet because we got to add a little bit of bling. I always have to add a little something. So I have some of the iridescent pearls basic jewels. I'm going to grab the take your pick tool. These do come in 2 sizes. I only have one of the larger ones left. So we're just going to use all 3 kind of the tiny ones. And just randomly sprinkle them around your card. And that is our card. So I hope you enjoyed this card today. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you would like to see more videos from me, I post on YouTube every Monday and I go live on Fridays. Subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video or go live. I want to thank you so much for watching today. We're going to be talking about spring all week long, so stay tuned to my Facebook, Instagram, all the things. We're talking spring. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next time.